Namaste and welcome to Live, Love, Engage. I am Gloria Grace Rand, and today we're going to be talking about clarity and confidence through spirituality. And I have a wonderful guest on the program today whose name is Christelle Biiga, and I'm going to tell you all about her and why she is an expert on that in a moment. But first, welcome to Live, Love, Engage, Christelle.
Thank you so much, Gloria, for having me. I'm really happy to be here today.
I'm definitely overjoyed to have you because we met recently and had through another event, and then we had a follow-up call and was like, ooh, we are in so much alignment. I love this woman. So let me tell you why. So she is a former corporate executive, TV host turned personal alignment coach, podcast host and inspirational speaker. And she grew up in a strict religious environment filled with judgment, intolerance, and division. And her relationship with her dad suffered because he had different views on spirituality than she did. And by the time he passed away, they were barely in contact. And at age 27, she decided to abandon all that she'd been taught, all that she knew, and embrace the unknown. And that journey led her on a spiritual path where unconditional love and freedom are the only reality. And today, as a spiritual freedom expert, she helps female entrepreneurs leverage spirituality to gain clarity and confidence from within. And her clients love the way she makes their wildest dreams feel reachable and easy to achieve. And she's also an expert speaker, of course, because I mentioned she has her own podcast, and that is called Absolute Alignment with Christelle, wherein success feels easy. And it's on Transformation Talk Radio. And I was honored recently to be a guest on her podcast. And you definitely need to check it out because she's got you've been talking to a lot of interesting people and doing it live now, which is more than I've done yet. I'm still pre-recording these podcasts, but maybe later in 2021 we'll go live. I'm not sure. So I thought we would start off by talking a little bit about why is it so challenging for people to create the life they want?
Oh, basically, this answer is simple. When you say it out loud, it sounds simple, but for some reason, it's really challenging for people. People don't know what they want. How could I say that? When I speak with clients, usually you ask them what they want. They come struggling. Okay, I can't figure out why I can't reach this goal. I'm trying so hard, but I can't seem to get anywhere with it. And then you ask, what do you want? What are you trying to achieve? And they will, name a few things. Some people will tell you, I'm not sure, I think. But the bottom line is people really don't know what they want. That's the first challenge, because if you don't know the final destination, chances are you'll struggle to find your way there, right? If you put your GPS in the car and you just say, take me to a nice place, the GPS doesn't know where that is. So of course you might end up spending hours and hours running around going nowhere. So that's why it's so difficult for people to actually create what they really want, because they don't know clearly what it is that they want. Sometimes they think they do know what they want, but when you go deeper, you realize that they thought that's what they wanted, but in reality, they didn't want that. Let me share a story about myself on that. When I was growing up, I thought being a doctor was my dream. Yeah. I had no plan B. I had to be a doctor, right? And I was studying and did all I could to go into medical school back in Cameroon. And it was so challenging. I mean, I think in every country, it's not easy to get into medical school, right? So I didn't pass the exam and I was devastated. I was so depressed, like for a few days, I prayed to die. That's how bad it was. And when I came out of that depression, and I started doing other things. And a few years ago, when I moved in the US after going through my, spiritual and personal development journey, I realized that that dream was never mine. When I was growing up, my mom used to tell me that I had a nanny when I was a baby, that every time she would take me to the doctor, she would come back so excited because she was in love with my pediatrician. She would say, oh, Christelle would be just like that doctor. She will wear the blouse like her. She will walk like her. And my little baby's subconscious mind took that information, and I thought it was mine, but it wasn't.
Wow.
So I was chasing a dream that was never my dream. It was someone else's dream for me. And today, how many people, how many of us are chasing a life that is not ours? We saw somebody do something on social media next to us in our family, and all of a sudden, we make it our goal to do the same. But is it really what we want? Chances are, if it's not your dream, if it's not your goal, if it's really not what you want, what your soul is calling you to do, but it's someone else's, you will struggle. You will find it really hard. And you'll always wonder, but why is it not working? I've done everything. I've tried it all. You know, I've paid this many people, coaches, and, you know, bought this many courses. Why is it not working? Maybe, just maybe, you are chasing the wrong dream. So the first question is, what it is that you really want to do with your life? What it is that you're really trying to create? Is it your dream? Is it really what you want? Or is it something that you took from someone else, from society? Maybe somebody told you that's what you should do, and you believe in that story. Maybe somebody told you that what you really wanted was too big for you, so you decided to settle for what seemed achievable. So I think that's the biggest challenge people are facing when it comes to creating what they really want in life.
Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely understand that. And because it is when we're young, we're so impressionable. And I could see how you just took on what, your nanny was talking about, and just probably seemed like, yeah, sure, I'll be a doctor. That seems perfectly logical, without ever really getting to figure out in your heart of hearts what it is that you really want to do. Why do you think it is that so many people really lack clarity around this, and other than, that they're taking on other people's? Is there any other reason why we're so, unsure about how to be able to even figure out what it is we want?
Yes, because we are disconnected from ourselves. We are so disconnected from ourselves that we are looking for answers outside of ourselves. So that lack of clarity of, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go, I don't know how, is just coming from a place of misalignment with who we really are. So we end up looking around, looking for answers outside. But the truth is, the answers are not outside. All the hows you have in your mind right now, how do I get there? Okay, now I know what I want, but how do I get there? How do I make that happen? How do I create that? And you don't know, you have no clarity around what. And last time somebody asked me, I think it was during an interview, I was invited to speak on an event. She asked, so what is the step-by-step for me to get where I want to go? And I said, that's a disempowered question. See, we are so disconnected from ourselves that we don't know how powerful we are. We forgot how powerful we are. So all of a sudden, we expect other people to tell us what to do. We expect someone else to show us the way. So of course, we don't know what to do until somebody tells us. So the lack of clarity is simply a sign that you are not connected with yourself. So come back within yourself. Go back home where all the answers are. Can somebody support you and, hold space for you and show? Yes, of course. But it has to come from you being in your power first. Because even the decision to choose the coach, to choose the program, to buy something that will support your business or your life or your relationship, whatever it is, has to come from a powerful place of, okay, I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. So this is exactly what I need at this very moment. But if you're coming from that disempowered place of lack of clarity of, I don't know what to do, you are going to buy anything and you'll be frustrated because you will be like, I have done everything. I have tried everything. Why were you trying everything? Because you were lost. You were confused. And the confusion is just you not trusting yourself. You're so disconnected from yourself that even when that little voice within you, we all have that little voice that I love to call the divine energy within us. Because we are 100% human and 100% divine. But we are so disconnected from the divine, so attached to the human that we just want to go by what our physical eyes see, with what our brain knows, and disconnected from that divine energy. Sometimes we hear that little voice guiding, telling us to do something, but our brain sees like it's crazy, doesn't make any sense. We look with our eyes to find someone else that is doing the same, and we don't see, so we can't do that. No, we don't trust ourselves. So we are going to be, I don't know what to do. And you have the answer is coming from within yourself, and you don't trust that. You don't even hear it sometimes because you're so disconnected. And therefore, you walk around wondering what to do. How do I get where I want to go? I don't know what to do. That's the issue with clarity. That's why we need to come back to trusting ourselves, to listening to ourselves, and coming from a powerful place, and not expecting the answers to come from outside.
Yeah, absolutely. What would be maybe a first step that someone could take to be able to do that? Because especially if you're not used to trusting yourself, someone listening to this could be like, well, I don't even know. How do I do that? It's like, I don't even understand, because as you say, it's like, well, I hear myself. It's like, it doesn't seem like I should trust myself because it's maybe leading me one direction, and I'm not sure that that's the right way to go. What would you say? How would you help someone maybe just at least take one step in the right direction?
Okay, so the first thing is to be able to make the difference, because as I said, we are human and divine, right? So the human is in the conversation. In your head, you have a conversation going on all the time. We all know that. We have people living in our head. Anyway, so the issue is that we started believing that we are our thoughts. We are what we think about, which is not true. The first step probably should be here, if I want to give a step, to recognize that your thoughts are not you. The things that are running through your mind are not you, because the reason why you say my thought is because it belongs to you. Your thoughts belong to you. You are not your thoughts. So when you have the conversation going on, maybe you have a situation, you are looking for clarity, you want to know what to do from where you are right now, step out and witness the conversation happening in your mind. Really do that. It's possible. It sounds crazy like that, but you are not your thought. You can disconnect yourself and watch the conversation with no judgment, because there's no wrong or right. It's just a conversation happening. Because when you are from that place of, okay, I'm witnessing, I'm listening to the conversation that I'm having with myself right now, and let me see what I'm telling to myself. When you listen to that conversation, you will be able to see where the truth is. Because we know the truth. The divine essence within us is the truth. So when that conversation is happening, usually we think we are the conversation. That's why we miss the point.
Right.
When we disconnect ourselves and we witness the conversation, we're able now to see clearly what is really going on, where the stories are made up, where the illusions are running the show, and where the truth needs to step in and take over. Okay, so that's the first step, really paying attention to our thoughts, really being present in the moment. Again, as I said in the beginning, we're so disconnected that we don't pay attention to what is happening within ourselves. We are so focused in whatever is happening around us, in the news, in the world, on Facebook, that we don't know what is happening within. It's time to go back. And when a conversation starts, scary place, like, I don't know what to do. How am I going to get out of here? Watch that conversation, acknowledge that, okay, I believe this, but is this true?
Right.
Is this really true that I cannot do this? Is this really true that I don't know the answers? And if I knew the answers, what will be the answers? You'll be surprised that the answers will come. And sometimes don't expect the answers to come right there when you're asking, because again, that's a lack of trust. When you ask the question, trust that the answers will come and let it go. And you will be amazed to see how the answers will come. The step-by-step you're chasing out there for people to show you, you will be led to those steps Sometimes you'll be led to, check out somebody speaking on Facebook and the person will say something that you needed to hear. Sometimes you'll be led to see somebody make an offer and that offer will land in your spirit and you will know this is what you needed to move forward. So your step-by-steps, that clarity will come the more you be connected with yourself. I hope that helps.
Oh, absolutely, it does. And one other thing I would add too is one of the beauties of when you do start doing that and you start becoming more aware of those thoughts, or at least in my instance, what I've found is that there will be these thoughts that will come in and I'll be like, okay, thank you for sharing. But I really think, this is not in my best interest, or this is really a negative thought, and that, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to choose something that's more positive to do. So there is hope for that. This is a process, and it does take a lot. It takes practice. Yes. Like anything, but you can start tuning into yourself a lot more easily. We mentioned at the top that, I think part of what gets involved with clarity is because people are unsure and they don't know what's going on. So what else can people do to really become more confident in themselves?
First of all, I want to, say something that maybe will be surprising. Okay. Confidence, a lot of people say that confidence comes from doing. The more you do it, the more confident you become.
Right.
I would say that's just half of the story. Confidence is an inside game. Let me share another story that somebody shared with us. She was a journalist, a host of a show where she used to interview rock stars, big names known around the world. They will have concerts in front of thousands of people and they will kill it. And she said every time she had to interview one of them, when she would go in the, room before the interview to say hi and maybe take a picture because they were so big that, she was fans. They will always, all of them, those big stars, big rock stars, we tell her the same thing before the interview. I am so scared. I am so scared. Those are people that sing in front of thousands and millions of people, but now they are just going to be with her in a studio and they are saying, I am so scared. So after the interview, they will tell her, how was I? Did I do good? If you go by, the more you do it, the more confident you become. Those people shouldn't have those kind of problems, right?
That's true.
They have been singing and singing and talking to people and having interviews. But regardless, they were still not confident about them showing up in front of a camera and talking to people. They had no confidence. And they wanted, after the interview, to know if they were good enough.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And that's why I know that confidence doesn't come from doing. It's an inside game. The feeling of confidence, or you being confident to show up in your life or in your business, whatever you do, comes from you knowing who you are. Comes from you knowing that you are good enough. Comes from you knowing that the result doesn't mean anything about you. People lack confidence. They don't want to show up because they are afraid that if things don't go the way they thought or they want things to go, it will mean something about them. It will mean that they are not good enough. It will mean that they are a failure. It will mean that they are bad people. It will mean whatever story we have around that.
Right.
But the bottom line is we will feel like we are not good enough. That's why we are scared to show up. What do people think? What will people say? Are people going to like me after that? Are people going to accept me? Are people going to approve me? Are people going to understand me? That's why I say confidence is an inside game. You have to heal the relationship with yourself. Remember the truth of who you are. Because when you come from a place of knowing that I am good enough right here and now, I was born worthy, valuable, good enough for everything, You don't need any evidence. You don't need any proof from your result. Your result will not change that truth. The truth is the truth. You were not born out with the results that made you become good enough. No, you were born worthy. You were born good enough. When you know that, when you have that truth ingrained in you, you show up. You don't have that lack of confidence, because it doesn't matter what happens. It will never change who you are. So I think that's the first step. That's the process to have real confidence, because the confidence that you want to build by creating results, by doing more, by practicing more, that confidence will be really affected the day you will not have the result you expected. That confidence will be really hit when you will not be able to show up.
Right.
Right? So if your confidence relies on those things, that's not really strong.
Yeah.
But the confidence that comes from you knowing who you are, that's the real confidence. It's an inside game.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, you're such a wise woman. And I love that you're doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, so I want to go back a little bit and really what actually got you down this path? I mean, what was it? Because I mentioned in the intro that you decided to abandon all that you'd been taught and all that you knew. What was it? Was there anything in particular that really caused you to do that, or what was it that you really sparked to this spiritual journey that you've been on?
See, I will not say it was one particular instance, but I think it was, a whole journey that led me there, right? It's like a lot of things in our lives usually. But I am a free spirit, right? I was always that child that wanted to do her own thing, but it doesn't work that way in the world we are living in.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. So, I remember when I was a teenager, skipping classes, not to go do crazy things like a teenager, but just to go home, because I didn't want to be there Monday to Friday from this time. It was just not in me to do the same thing like that and be sitting in the same room. I was feeling like I'm suffocating. And do you think I could have gone to my parents and told them, I don't feel like going to school every day, sometimes I just don't feel like it?
Yeah.
Heck no. Heck no. They will have been like, are you out of your mind? You go there. Yeah. So I would have to skip. And I remember one day the guy that was standing at the gate asked me, why do you go each time you leave from here? I say, home. He said, really? I say, yeah. I said, so you leave school? I say, yeah, I just don't want to be here. And I made sure that I had good grades. That way my parents will never suspect that something was going on. But that's just to show that I was never the person that really fits in the system.
Okay.
But I learned that I had to hide because nobody will accept the fact that I want to do my own thing. I want to be in the classroom when I feel like it. And when I don't feel like it, I don't want to be there. So I learned growing up that I had to hide who I am. And the fact that also when, as I mentioned in my bio, I grew up in really a religious environment. If you have any background with religion, there is a lot of rules. Yeah. There is a lot of things you shouldn't do, that you cannot do, because again, you will not be loved. If you do those things, God will not love you. Yeah. You kind of have to act a certain way, behave a certain way to be loved by God, to be accepted by God, and to be rewarded by God. So all of that together at some point was just too much for the free spirit I was, right? So basically, I wasn't good enough to deserve the love, the acceptance, to have what I wanted, because I wasn't good enough. And it's really interesting how when we look around, we see how many people just don't feel worthy of the life they really want, just because of those stories. That society can be religion, it can be anything. But there are so many rules. There is nothing wrong with rules. Right. But you just have to know and remember that there is nothing wrong about you, right? Sometimes the systems we are in my case, it was mainly religion, make you feel like there is something wrong with you. You are broken. You need to be fixed. You need to change in order for you to deserve love or acceptance or the things you really want. And that's not the truth. And that's why at some point I just couldn't take it anymore. Plus the judgments, like those people are not good, those people are good. And again, because I'm free spirit, I really want people to be who they are. And for me to realize that I'm in a system that is telling me that people that are not a certain way, that don't believe in a certain God or don't pray a certain way, will be punished for that forever and burn in hell. It was just too much for me to take. It was just like, why? Why can't they just be who they are? Why is it so bad, right? And I remember one day having this crazy conversation with God, and I said, you know what? This is not okay. I'm nobody to tell you that, but I'm telling you that. If this is how you roll, if this is how you walk, I'm out. I'm leaving church. I'm throwing the Bible away. I am out of all of this, because if you're telling me that the people that were born in India or whatever, I don't know where they were born and they never heard about the Bible, are all going to hell just because they didn't pray a certain way. Okay, I'm out, and I will see if you're going to send me to hell just because I'm not going to church again, if I'm not reading the Bible again. Let's see, right? And if you exist, we will meet someday. It was a crazy thing. Anyway, I left, and it was a big drama. My mom, she was devastated. It was a huge drama. It was crazy. But anyway, I stood my ground, and whatever, they use threads, you're going to remember, you're going to go to hell and whatever. So, but I was over it, right? At that point, I was like, I'd rather go to hell than go to that place where I can be me. Anyway, so fast forward, when I moved into the US, I started a spiritual journey with Dad, really looking for God, right? I was just looking for ways to be me, looking for anything that would allow me, because I always knew that there was something spiritual about me that I wanted to understand better, that I wanted to explore. I knew there was something more than just my physical being. That for sure I knew. But I wanted something that will not make me feel again like I was in church. Like I cannot be me, because if I'm me, I will never have the answers. If I'm being me, I will never have that connection. So I didn't want any system. So I was learning, taking classes, taking some programs, joining some courses to learn some spiritual tools that would allow me to have the answers that I was looking for. And during that journey, I remember at first I didn't really want to hear, and even somebody mentioned the word God was triggering me so much. So it was just like, don't mention that dude, okay? So anyway, so during that journey, I learned to heal from my wounds. I learned to let go of all the resentment, all the anger, because I realized that I needed all that in my life. I needed to be part of that journey, to understand better, to be able to see with, to have a broader perspective on things.
Right.
Because sometimes when we are just one way, it's easy to judge the other way. But when you're on the odd, if you have been on both sides, you have a better perspective. So I realized that I needed that journey, I needed that experience to be able to let go of the judgment. Because if now I feel more connected to God, because at some point I made peace with God, because I know it's easier for me to call it God. Sometimes I call it universe, source. It doesn't really mean anything to me.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah, it doesn't mean, because at the end of the day, I think it's the same thing, but some people are sensitive with that, but whatever. So because I know I came to the place of realizing that we are not different. We are not separate. We just have the illusion that we are.
Right.
And what reinforces those illusions is the systems we put in place as human beings.
Yeah.
The reason why we have systems is just to keep people under check, to control people. And this free spirit I am, just have some issues with that. But anyways, I get it. Sometimes some people needed to feel like they're in control of the rest of the mass for some reasons that we don't have. I don't know. But anything for me now is letting people find their own ways.
Mm.
That's why I have no issue walking or having a conversation with people that are Christian, even though they have an issue with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them, I understand where you're coming from. And I do, because I was them yesterday.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, that's why I'm so grateful that I went through that path, because I have compassion and I don't feel bad when they tell me the things they tell me, because I understand that for them, they are coming from a place of love. So I have no issue with that. And I tell them, I hear you and I know exactly where you're coming from. So I don't have any issue with that. But I have friends that it really triggers them. They don't, someone even told me one day, I cannot even have a friend that is Christian. I said, why? She said, they just want to judge people. And she went on and on and on. And I said, listen, those people they don't mean bad, because I have been there. So I know exactly where they're coming from. But I couldn't have maybe the same perspective if I didn't have that experience. I'm grateful for that. And today I'm just in, again, my free space where whatever works for you, whatever allows you to have that connection with the divine in you is for you. Just use that. And love is the only language that the divine essence knows. So every time we say things or we do things or we make decisions, we always want to check within ourselves. Is it from a place of love or fear? Because in general, judgments are just a sign of fear.
Yeah, that's true.
When something looks different, we are afraid and we start judging and criticizing and pointing fingers because we are afraid. What if that thing, what if whatever they're saying that I don't say, what if they are right and I'm wrong? Because there is always that conversation of right and wrong, good or bad. We always want to separate, when in reality, we are all one. We are all from that divine essence. And it's time for us to let go of that illusion of right, wrong, good, bad, and just remember that things just are. People are just people. We are only on our own path, different path, and it's okay. It's okay for people to think differently. It's okay for people to speak differently. It's okay for people to look differently. It's okay. There is no reason why we should all look the same, should all do the same things, should all believe the same things. There is beauty in difference.
Oh, absolutely. Life would be awfully boring if we were all the same. It would be terrible. So we really do need to appreciate all of the unique differences that we have and the unique talents and skills that we have, and still understand, as you say, that we're all still human beings with a spiritual side to us. Absolutely. Yeah. One other thing I wanted to ask you about is the work that you do. So you work with female entrepreneurs, and what is it that you like best about doing that and helping them to really gain clarity and confidence?
I love female entrepreneurs because I think entrepreneurship is a beautiful life journey. I think the people that nothing, no judgment about if you're not an entrepreneur, but I'm just thinking entrepreneurial spirit is a spirit of wanting more, right? When you're already in that place of, I'm going to take a chance. Because when you start a business, you join the entrepreneurship world, you are taking a chance.
That's true.
Right? You want to leave what feels safe to try something that probably you have no control over. And I love that because that allows you, that's why I say entrepreneurship is your life experience, it's lifetime journey. It's not really about you making money or building a business. It's who you become in the process of entrepreneurship, of building something out of scratch. I think it allows us to express our creativity as the creator that we are. As we said previously, we are divine beings.
Right.
So we have this creative side in us that I think entrepreneurship allows us to express. That's why I love working with female entrepreneurs, and female because I'm a woman, if you didn't notice. but we have been so conditioned by society, by religion, by everything, to not be who we are.
Mm.
That we always feel never enough. We're always looking for validation. And as I keep mentioning, I love freedom. I'm all about freedom. So I want women, especially, to support them in that space of, you are good enough. You don't need to check boxes on a checklist of good girl.
Right.
You know, women can do this, women cannot do that. It's okay for women to be this way. It's not okay for them to be that way. I want to help them live that conversation and take back ownership of who they truly are. And remember that they are good enough. They don't have to prove anything to anyone. And it's sometimes really deeply rooted. And we still live in a world in 2021 where women still have to, prove that they are worthy.
Yeah.
So it's so deeply rooted in women that's why I love to work with women, because I know spirituality is really it's really a key to real freedom. It's true. Right now, we are fighting for everything. We're fighting for social justice. We are fighting for so many things that we think the fight is outside.
Yeah.
But real freedom, again, as everything else, is within ourselves. So I love working with women to help them in that journey of remembering the truth of who they are before the system changes, before the laws changes, before people change the way they see women. How do you see yourself? See yourself and show up like that. When you come from that place that again, you have that confidence that I am enough. I am worthy of everything that I desire. I can have it all. Even though I'm a woman, I don't have to sacrifice. I think it's a beautiful thing to see. And when I usually have I remember the last client that I had, the session I had, she came and she had a dream that she didn't want to look at because, again, it was too big, and she was trying to settle for what made sense. And I loved how the more we worked, I'm not a business coach, let's keep it clear.
Okay.
But when we work on the person, when I work on your mindset, on your limiting beliefs, we shift your energy around the way you see things. All of a sudden, things start making sense in the way you run your business, because it's not really what you do. It's not really the strategies you apply, because all strategies work, not for everyone. So you have to be the person for the strategy to work. So when we work on the person, all of a sudden they have more clarity. Things become so easy because all of it like, yeah, but I can do this. Okay, of course you can. But you were not seeing it before because it wasn't even in your radar that you are worthy of it. So you were not even going after it. You were not open to see the possibilities. So that's really what I love about working with women, just helping them free themselves of all those limits. That sometimes, even when you are successful, you feel like, no, I can't get it. Sometimes you have those little stories in the back of your mind that are still holding you back from where you really want to be.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about working with female entrepreneurs.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. And I can so relate to that just from my personal experience too, that as I have gone on my own spiritual journey and really gotten more clear about who I am and what I want, it's just becoming easy to promote my business or to come up with ideas of things to do, even with regards to my business. Like this past weekend, I added 2 new pages to my website. I wrote new copy for it. And it just kind of like came out of me because I'm finally in alignment. And so it's so important for everyone listening. And frankly, even for men too, because I know there are some men who do listen to this podcast as well. It's good for you to also be in touch with your higher self and to really learn to love yourself, because there are some men too who are still feeling like they're not enough as well. So it is important for everyone to be able to do that.
Yes, absolutely. All human beings actually feel that way.
Yeah.
Because society didn't, serve anyone else a different meal, just look different.
That's right.
So yeah, men also obviously have that conversation running, trying to prove that they are good enough, trying to prove that they are worthy. So we're all in the same boat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This has been lovely. And I know that there's someone listening out there who is knowing that I need to talk to Christelle. I need to find out more. I want to be free. So what is the best way for someone to get in touch with you?
All right. I have my website is christellebiiga.com, but the easiest and fastest way to reach out to me and make sure and know that I'm going to respond the same very day is definitely on Facebook. So my name on Facebook is Christelle Biiga, and any other, social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Christelle Biiga, right? If you DM me there, just say, let's chat. Maybe I heard you on Gloria podcast. I will respond the same day for sure. That's the easiest and fastest way to reach out to me. And other than that, you can also be in the live studio audience of my podcast, Absolute Alignment with Christelle, When Success Feels Easy. I would love for you to be there in my energy and have your question answered. And yeah, that's definitely the easiest and fastest.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely recommend that you do that because I was privileged to be on the very first live that you did, and it was wonderful. After we got to speak with some of the people who were in the audience, and they had awesome questions, and it was a really great experience for me. I believe that the people listening got a lot of value but I got a lot of value out of it. So I love what you're doing in the world, and I'm so glad that we've had a chance to connect, and that I get to show you off to my audience today as well.
Thank you so much, Gloria. Yes, it was a wonderful episode, and I'm really happy that it was with you because it was amazing. The feedback was just incredible. And thanks again for having me here. I hope, this message reaches somebody's heart and speaks to someone's soul. Yes, I'm really happy I was here today.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again. And thank everyone out there who is watching on YouTube and listening on your favorite podcast platform. I appreciate you, and look forward to connecting soon. And if you're not already a subscriber, make sure that you are a subscriber of the podcast. You can go to Live, Love, Engage podcast.com, as a matter of fact, to check us out on, because it'll connect you right to iTunes that way, and you can subscribe. And if you care to leave us a review, I would love that as well. So until next time, as always, I encourage you to go out and live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.